What's going on, guys? Seancutshair back with another video. Guys, this is a super dope transformation for you guys. Kind of complicated. I hope you guys can follow along, but definitely leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this outcome, and let's get right to it. Alright guys, we'll jump right into this cut. We're going to approach this one a little bit differently. We're going to do block graduation around the perimeter. Then we'll connect the top to that before we go in and cut the sides. That's going to allow us to create the shape that we want without messing any of that up with the clipper work. So we're basically going to establish the whole haircut and what the shape and finished product is going to look like. And then we'll come in underneath and do our fade. So you can see I'm doing the block graduation. My middle finger is against the side of his head at the peak of his parietal ridge, and in the back we'll drop it to maintain some of that length in the crown area. You guys see how I did that sectioning there? You're just going to pull the comb all the way through and create a solid comb line for you to stick it in. Then you just separate the hair and part it wherever you'd like. And this isn't necessary on every cut. You guys will see as we get this going why we're doing this on this cut and what we're creating by doing this. So we'll just do our perimeter, then we're going to connect the top to the perimeter and style it before we go in and do our clipper work. Alright, now that the perimeter is done, we're going to section our top right down the middle. We'll pull that to both sides. That's going to connect to the perimeter. That way, no matter how we style the hair, none of the length can hang over on top. So you guys will see, we'll just pull that to the side to where we started with. We're going to connect all of this to the sides where we started with the perimeter, and then we'll pull it up in the middle and take out the peak. You guys can see as we get to the front, we'll just pull that over and continue to connect it to that same perimeter. We'll do the same thing on this side, and then we'll finish the rest of the top. Now that we're done with that, when we pull the top of the hair up, we should have a peak right in the middle from where the guidelines are going to be on the edge, and the peak will be in the middle. You can barely see it, but I'm just going to take it straight up, and we're going to take that peak off that's in the middle. We'll work our way from the back to the front just because there's so much length, and then we'll be done with the top. We'll go ahead and style it up and then move on to the sides. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and blow dry it. We're gonna pretty much get it all the way to its finished style. And this is one of the biggest tips I ever learned. I remember I was at a hair show and Chris Bosio taught something like this. And so guys, doing the perimeter, cutting the top, and then styling it, that's gonna maintain all the length on top. We'll fit our clipper work in underneath, and that will cause no damage or cutting any hair off that we don't wanna cut. So you're just gonna see I'm just gonna blow dry it, I'm gonna get it flowing back, and then we can come in and handle the sides. And I don't know, this kind of looks like a hairstyle right here. We got some hair around the ears, nice and tight around the ridge, and then the length on top. So, but anyway guys, we'll come in with our four closed, and we're just gonna connect right into the perimeter that we created to begin with. So I'll just cut the side down and let that clipper feed into the hair that we started with. Once we're done with the 4, we're just going to stack guards underneath that. So we'll come in with a 3 under the 4 and then a 2 under the 3 and create a panel where the whole side of the head is a 2 for us to fade in. And again, guys, we're doing it this way so we don't damage any of the length that we started with. So we started with the perimeter, then we came in with the 4 into that, then a 3, then we'll do a 2 last, and we'll have our basic panel from bald to a 2 to fade into. You guys know I like to do that on every cut. Go from skin to a 2, so this is setting us up for that. So here's our 2 guard. We're gonna cut the rest of this side down to a 2, and then we'll start with our ball guideline and do our normal steps. Start off with our ball guideline. I'm going to keep it pretty low, so I'm going to start with the natural hairline above his ear, drop it in the front, drop it in the back, same shape as the perimeter that we created. We'll go ahead and bald it out, and then we'll come in with our shaver and get it all the way down to skin before we move on to the fade. Now our first step is the lever all the way open. We're going to come up about 3/4 of an inch. This is the Wahl Senior with the Andis master blade on it. So we'll come about 3/4 of an inch, and then we'll go down and start at the bottom of our section and start to work that guideline out. Our first thing we'll do is scoop up with the slimlines. We punch the line in with the slimlines, so the first step is to scoop it out. Then immediately after that, we'll use a closed clipper at the bottom of that section and halfway open, halfway up into that section. After that, we'll do our 1 guard all the way open, another 3/4 of an inch up, and you guys can see since we started with the 2 closed, that's barely going to leave a guideline. So we'll start with the 1 open, we'll take our 1 closed 2/3 of the way up into that section, and then our half guard will take the line out at the bottom of that section. So here's our half guard. That should clean up anything left between the 2 sections. If we have to, we might have to open up our clipper and touch up some dark spots, but ideally that half guard will get most of it out. But sometimes, guys, when you're putting in your initial guidelines, you just punch them in a little bit hard. So there may be a few spots that we need the open clipper for, but then we'll move up. We know we have a 2 closed above that and a 1 open, and the 1 1/2 guard will take that last line out, and then we can just polish up and make sure we're happy with how this side looks. I can still see a decent line between that open section and the 1 section, so we're going to work our way back down. Now we're back to the 1 open, then we'll use a 1 closed, back to the half guard, whatever we need to work our way back down and make sure this is all the way clean. Go ahead and edge up the C-cup here. We're going to leave the rest of his hairline natural. I don't want to get into all those baby hairs on the front of his forehead, and it doesn't need to be super sharp. So we're just going to give a nice sharp C-cup, and then we'll handle the other side of the cut. Gonna go in with a thinning shear just to clean up the tips of this and help that hair to lay down just a little bit smoother when we style it. So I'm not taking a whole lot off, we're just hitting the very tips of this to make sure that it's nice and soft and it'll lay in nice when we finish. We're gonna go ahead and do this other side. We're gonna start with our number 4 and then stack our 3 and our 2 underneath before we do our ball guideline and do our fade steps. So you guys follow along. I wanna tell you real quick, this is a haircut I did for the Tomb 45 Academy. If you guys are watching this, it's a little bit complicated. You have some questions about certain parts. That's what's so good about the Academy. So this is about a 12-minute video right here that we're watching, but on the Academy it was about 45 minutes that we did this video. And so like I said, guys, I've told you before, we'll watch this in regular speed, so it won't be sped up like it is right now. I can pause it, I can draw on the screen, you can ask specific questions about why I just did what I did or how I would do it maybe in a different example. And it's just real helpful for you guys. So if you're watching something like this and it's a little bit complicated, you'd like a little more in-depth breakdown on these haircuts, definitely check out the Academy, guys. It's worth it. It's 20 bucks a month. That's one haircut, and you guys are going to learn from 5 of the best educators, and it's super in-depth, and like I said, you can really get your questions answered, and that's definitely something you can't really get through YouTube, because obviously this is already filmed. I have to just do the voiceover, you know, based off what I have in my head to tell you guys about, but it's much more in person and obviously live, and we can really answer your questions on the Academy. So definitely check it out. I got a link down below, and it's growing quick, guys. I appreciate all you guys that have signed up, and of course, if you signed up, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys think about it. And you guys can see this side's coming together, same steps as before. Right now we're just finishing up with our 1.5. And I want you guys to see on this side that hair from where I styled it is hanging over. So we're gonna have a nice little line left where that 1.5 is, and it's kind of under a shadow right now. So at the end, I'll go ahead and go back in and clean it up a little bit. But you guys can see we're mostly done with this cut. We just have to finish the back and connect it. So we'll do the same steps there, and then we'll be done with the cut. So we're gonna go in and do a finished style here. I have my blow dryer with no diffuser. I'm just using that air really loose just to really blow the hair up. And if you guys see, you know, you don't really even have to use a brush here. As long as that hair is going in the direction that you want, just use the blow dryer to get that hair flowing up and back. And then, you know, in the front here, I'm gonna use the vented brush to lift the front and get a little lift there. But you guys can see how I just loosely hold that blow dryer and it's getting that hair flowing where we want it. So we'll get that all finished. We want it nice and dry. We'll add some products and you guys can check out the end result. Alright guys, there's the before. You can see this was pre-quarantine. He hadn't had a cut for like 4 or 5 months. Definitely needed one, had plenty of hair to work with, and that's kind of how we were able to come out with such a dope outcome. So I hope this video helped. I know it was complicated, but that's why I broke it down for you guys, and there's a finished product. I hope you guys dig it. Leave me a thumbs up if you like it. Make sure you subscribe. I got 3 videos coming a week like always, you guys already know. I appreciate all you guys watching, especially if you watch all the way through to the end. That's it for this one, guys. Please go check out the Tomb 45 Academy, and I'll catch you guys next time.